Hello everyone, welcome to Believers IS Academy, Bengaluru. This is the previous year question paper analysis and discussion. Today we will be taking up 2023 prelims question paper. In 2023 prelims question paper was considered to be one of the toughest in the recent years. Toughest maybe in the whole of history of UPSC, mainly because of the change in pattern. Change in pattern in the sense, previously there was a chance of elimination. Okay, there was chance of elimination, meaning if you knew 2 statements out of 3, you could have guessed an answer there. But in last year, what happened is there were very less chances of elimination, and most of the questions were asked in all the statements, 2 statements, 3 statements, 4 statements. They are not asking which statements are true, they are asking how many statements are true. Only 2, only 1. So it became very difficult, and UPSC in the turn eliminated the elimination technique. So before we start into the discussion, we will have a brief analysis about 2023. This is the prelims breakdown subject wise. So polity, there are around 15 questions, economy 14 questions, geography 16 with the highest, history 14 questions. This history included ancient, art and culture, medieval and modern. Okay, and then science and technology. This was majorly dominated by current affairs, and then environment and ecology, static as well as current affairs, and then IR, mainly current affairs, and there are some miscellaneous questions such as awards. Okay, awards, sports. Okay, so this was one of the toughest in the UPSC history. This can be proved through the cutoff. Okay, the cutoff was very low, as low as 75. Okay, this is the lowest cutoff in the UPSC history. Okay, out of 200, the cutoff for general was only about 75.4 marks, and OBC 74.75, EWS 68, and SC 59, ST 47. So the cutoffs are very low, and PWD 40, 47, 40, 43, 33. Okay, so many people who I know or whom I know, they were able to clear this cutoff. They were getting marks above this cutoff. When the marks sheet arrived, they were clearing this cutoff, but they failed in CSAT. Okay, they failed in CSAT. 2023 proved to be the toughest CSAT paper. Okay, there are people who even went to the court, even went to the judiciary, saying that the question was out of syllabus. There is a syllabus mentioned in UPSC, meaning there should be basic levels of maths up to 10th class or basic levels of maths, and they were questioning that it was not on the level of basic maths, and it was over and above the basic maths what is required to clear the basic CSAT, but it didn't go anywhere. Just to know that there were chances, there are very difficult. This was a very difficult question paper, and we'll be discussing this one. And so therefore you have to be on your toes, because UPSC can change up the question paper anytime. And 2024 previously, what we already discussed, there are questions similar to this one, but there are many questions where you could use this elimination technique also. So compared to 2023, the analysis of many people who wrote 2024 prelims was that it was easier. Okay, so even from the personal experience, as I cleared 2024 prelims, I felt this was easier compared to 2023 prelims. But you never know, UPSC can go back to the 2023 prelims again. Okay, based on the 2023 prelims again. So without any delay, we'll start discussing. Today we'll be discussing question paper of polity part. Okay, there are 15 questions. We'll try to discuss thoroughly. We'll try to do some 7-8 questions, and we'll do the rest tomorrow. Now, okay, so I already have the definition and analysis already made here, so we'll discuss under this one. So the first question is, in essence, what does due process of law mean? Okay, A, principle of natural justice, B, procedure established by law, fair application of law, equality before law. Okay, so there are 2 words, key words used in the constitution, not used in the constitution, used in the legal procedures. Okay, politicians, no, not politicians, in political science or political history, these are the two keywords will be used. That is due process of law, procedure established by law. So according to procedure established by law, a law is a law is right if it is established by a procedure. Okay, so meaning if a legislature is establishing a law, okay, legislature is law. If legislature is established by law, if a judgment is based on the law established by the legislature, that judgment or that ruling or that process becomes right. Whereas due process of law, it not only sees the reasonableness of the law, it also sees the basic idea behind this one. Okay, so here we have to understand. So the word due in this class interpreted to mean just, proper and reasonable. Okay, it should follow just, proper and reasonable according to judicial review. The due process of law in this essence is natural justice. Okay, so in case of Kartar Singh versus State of Punjab, the court held that procedure contemplated by Article 21 is that the procedure must be right, just and fair and not arbitrary, fanciful or oppressive. In order that the procedure is right, just and fair, it should conform to the principle of natural justice, that is fair play in action. Okay, what is principle of natural justice? Principle of natural justice is it should be just, fair and right, and any action is just, fair and right in terms of legal luminary is that the court should hear both sides, meaning if there are two litigants, the court should hear both sides, and no person can be the judge of his own, no person can be a judge of his own, no person can be judge of the case. Okay, if the person is involved in the particular case, he cannot be judge of his own cases. Okay, because there is every possibility that he can work in a bias towards his own personal gains. So this is due process of law. Okay, procedure established by law is that a law is right as long as it follows a procedure, as long as it has been established by the law. It doesn't see the reasonableness behind the law. Whereas due process of the law, it not only sees the law but also sees the background behind the law. It should be just, fair and equitable. So the correct answer here is A. Okay, so equality before law, it is a part of Dicey's rule of law, but it doesn't come under due process of law. Fair application law, it is again part of equality before law, that is equal application of law. So the correct answer here is A, principle of natural justice. Second statement, consider the following statements. In India, prisons are managed by state governments with their own rules and regulations, day-to-day administration of prisons. In India, prisons are governed by Prisons Act of 1894, which expressly kept the subject of the prisoners or prisons under the control of provincial governments. If you have been watching our videos, previously we discussed about prison reforms in our topic of the day. In that topic, we discussed that prisons is a state subject. It comes under list 2 of 7th schedule. Okay, list 2 of 7th schedule. So it comes under state, and it comes under state because it was initially put under state schedule by the Prisons Act of 1894 during the British rule. Okay, it has since been not been changed. So that is why the correct answer here is A. That is both statement 1 and 2 are correct, and statement 2 is the correct explanation of statement 1. The explanation here is that state subject under list 2 of 7th schedule, the management, administration and prisons followed exclusively in the domain of state governments and is governed by the Prisons Act of 1894. The prisons manuals of the respective state governments, like Prison Act of 1894, and the prison manuals of respective state governments. The states have the primary role, responsibility, and the power to change the current laws and rules and regulations. So statement 1 is correct. So there are certain provisions of Prisons Act of 1894. If you want, you can pause the video and look into this one. That is, the prison means any jail or place used permanently or temporarily under the general or special orders of a state government for the detention of prisoners. Includes all lands, buildings, apartments thereto, but does not include any place. The prisons, the definition of prison doesn't include these things. Any place for the confinement of prisoners who are exclusively in the custody of police. So it comes under police custody if they are under the custody of police. Any place specially appointed by the state government under section 541 of Code of Criminal Procedure any place which has been declared by the state government by general or special order to be subsidiary jail. These are the three places that doesn't come under prison or jail. Okay, rest of the things are considered as prison. Okay. So then, which of the following statements best reflects the chief purpose of constitution of a country? Okay, this is the very basic questions which is under, this is taken straight out of NCERTs. Okay, so here statements are: it determines the objective of making a necessary laws, it enables creation of political offices and a government, it defines and limits power of government, it secures social justice, social equality and social security. Okay, so in a way all these functions are done by constitution, but they are asking is best reflects chief purpose. So you have to analyze this question here. Okay. Any document can determine the objective of the making of necessary laws. It enables creation of political and office, creation of political office and government. It secures social justice, social equality and social security. Okay, this can be done by any other means, but this one, it defines and limits the powers of government. This is the right answer here. Okay, constitution, it not only establishes and does all these three questions, but chief purpose is that it limits the working of government. Okay, so that the working of government is non-arbitrary and it doesn't lead to anarchy. Okay, that is the chief purpose. The concept of constitutionalism is of a polity governed by or under a constitution that ordains essentially limited government and rule of law as opposed to arbitrary, authoritarian or totalitarian rule. So constitutional government therefore should necessarily be a democratic government also. Also, constitutionalism is a natural concomitant of a written constitution, is bound to define this here. According to constitutionalism, it says that a written constitution is bound to define and delimit the power and functions of various organs of the state, and a government under written constitution can only be limited government. Okay, so if there is a written constitution given by a country, then it has a government which is limited by that particular constitution. There are countries where there is constitution but it is not written. Okay, whenever the constitution is not written, then there are very chances that it can make away or it can make changes into the constitution. Okay, these are the correct answers. So, but it's certainly conceivable that at some countries there have been many examples may have written constitutions which are not really democratic. It can be said that they have constitution but does not follow constitutionalism. Also, there are instances where there is no written constitution but constitutionalism prevails. Okay, so there are exceptions for this also. According to constitutionalism, there should be a written constitution. That written constitution should limit the powers and functions of the government. But there are instances where there is written constitution but they don't follow constitutionalism, meaning the constitution doesn't define or limit that particular government, meaning that government has the power to rewrite the constitution or that has the power to overcome that particular constitution. But then certain countries there are no written constitution but still they follow constitutionalism. For this, meaning where there is no written constitution but they still follow constitutionalism, the best example can be of Great Britain. Okay, they follow the principle of parliamentary sovereignty but still they adhere to the constitutionalism. So next, moving on to the question number 4. In India, which one of the following constitutional amendment was widely believed to be enacted to overcome the judicial interpretations of fundamental rights? Okay, all these constitutional amendment, First Amendment Act, 42nd, 44th, 86th Amendment Act. Okay, 86th Amendment, all amendments have a particular provisions related to fundamental rights. But they are asking is which one was widely believed to enacted to overcome the judicial interpretations of fundamental rights. Okay, here though all the amendment acts deal with the fundamental rights, you have to use the common sense here. Okay, initially when government wanted to bring certain laws or rules, okay, which were aimed at limiting the fundamental rights, okay, limiting the fundamental rights, for example, or taking away the fundamental rights, for example, land reforms. Okay, land reforms. So land reforms are brought by the government. They were aimed at, okay, land ceiling, land consolidation and distribution of land to landless laborers or landless peasants. So this was against the fundamental right, that was 19 AF. Okay, F 19 AF, that was right to property. Okay, right to property. This was the fundamental right, meaning under the land reforms you cannot take away their lands and give it to another person. So it was undermining the right to fundamental rights. Sorry, fundamental right to property. So in order to overcome these interpretations, government had to bring the First Amendment Act. Okay, initially. So the correct answer here is First Amendment. So the explanation here is the statement of objects and reasons of the first Constitutional Amendment Bill in 1950 stated that during the initial 15 months of the working of constitutions, certain difficulties had been brought to light by the judicial decisions and pronouncements, especially in the regard to chapter of fundamental rights. So the citizens' right to freedom of speech and expressions guaranteed by under Article 91A has been held by some courts to be comprehensive and not as to render a person culpable even if he advocates murder and crimes of violence. So initially what happened is, so under 19(1)(a), that is freedom of speech and expression. So under freedom of speech and expression, many people were using this freedom of speech and expression to incite violence. Okay, they were using this to influence people to murder others. They were using this freedom of speech for declaring secessionist movements, meaning they wanted to take this particular region out of India. They were using their freedom of speech to explain that we do not belong to the part of India, we want separate country and all those things. So during those times, government wanted to punish those persons. Government wanted to punish those persons who were misusing the fundamental rights. Okay, but during that time, the pronouncements, meaning the judicial judgments given by the court, said that the fundamental right to speech and expression, it is wide and of large ambit. So even they can use this right to incite violence or murder or other crimes of violence also. So overcome this, government brought in amendments. In other countries with written constitutions, freedom of speech and press is not regarded as debarring the state from punishing or preventing the abuse of freedom. The citizen's right to practice any profession or carry an occupation, trade or business conferred by Article 19(1)(g) was subject to reasonable restrictions with the laws of the state may impose the interests of general public. Okay, so not required, all these things are not required, but you have to understand here is First Amendment dealt with fundamental rights. Okay, was dealt with enacted to overcome the judicial interpretations of fundamental rights. So there has been always a tussle between government and judiciary over fundamental rights. You might have seen about Goraknath case, Keshavan Bhathe case, Minora Mill case, and all the other cases where judicial interpretation kept on changing, and government kept on bringing 24th Amendment Act, 25th Amendment Act, 42nd Amendment Act, 44th Amendment Act to overcome the judicial proceedings. These are, so the amendment was to overcome the difficulties that had been risen by judicial interpretation of fundamental rights. Next, consider the following organizations, bodies in India: the National Commission for Backward Class, National Human Rights Commission, National Law Commission, National Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission. Which of the above is the constitutional bodies? So if you know about constitutional bodies, the correct answer here is only one, that is National Commission for Backward Class. Initially, it was also not a constitutional body, it was a statutory body, but later under 102nd Amendment Act, okay, 102nd Amendment Act, it was converted into constitutional bodies. Okay, so the rest of are called as statutory bodies. National Human Rights Commission, it is a statutory body. National Law Commission also, and National Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission, these are all statutory bodies established by a law. Okay, the difference between constitutional and statutory bodies: if any body which has a mention in constitution, it is called as constitutional body. If any body which has been brought into existence through a parliamentary law, that is called as a statutory body. If there is a body which is neither in the constitution nor in the statutory body, then they are called as executive bodies. Okay, so National Commission for Backward Classes, so it was established on the 14th August of 1993 under Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. It was formed under the National Commission for Backward Classes of 1993 initially. Okay, and National Human Rights Commission, it is also established under Human Rights Act of 1993, mandated by the Protection of Human Rights Act of 2006. Law Commission, it is a non-statutory body, is constituted by notification of Government of India, Ministry of Law and Justice. So this is a executive body. Sorry, it was not a statutory body. It is an executive body because yes, it was notified by a law commission of India. Sorry, it was notified by Government of India and under Ministry of Law and Justice, and there is no particular like law. Okay, there is no particular law by the government to bring this law commission. And then National Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission, it was brought under it is statutory body set up under Consumer Protection Act of 1986. Okay, the expression is not proper here. So National Commission of Backward was initially established in 4th August 1993 under Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, but it came to be, it was initially formed under National Commission and Backward Acts of 1993. So it was a statutory body in the beginning, but under on Second Amendment Act. So in under Article 338B, I guess, okay, it has been established as a constitutional body along with like National NCST, National Commission for ST, National Commission for ST, and then there is National Commission for BC, backward classes. Okay, 338, 338A, 338B. Okay, and then consider the following statements. If the election of President of India is declared void by the Supreme Court of India, all acts done by him or her in his performance of duties of office of the President before the date of decision becomes invalid. Okay, so election of the post of the President of India can be postponed on the ground that some of the legislative assemblies have been dissolved and elections are not yet to take place. Okay, when a bill is represented to the President of India, the Constitution prescribes time limits within which he or should declare his or her assent. Okay, so the correct answer here is D, that is none of the above. That is, if the election of the president of the person as a president or vice president is declared void by the Supreme Court, acts done by him in the exercise and the performance of the powers, duties of the president or vice president, as the case may be, on before the date of the decision of Supreme Court shall not be invalidated, because basically president or vice president are just the nominal heads. Okay, all the acts have been initially taken by Prime Minister and supported by Council of Ministers. So here the role of president is just giving the assent or rejecting the rejecting the recommendations or the policies of Prime Minister or the government. Okay, so here the actions are not directly taken by president. So the any action taken by president during his term, when he is invalidated, those when he becomes removed from the office, all those functions are actions taken by the president during that time, that doesn't become invalidated, because indirectly these actions have been taken by Prime Minister or Council of Ministers. So statement 1 is incorrect. And second, election of person as a president or vice president shall not be called in question on the ground that existence of any vacancy or whatever reason among the members of electoral college in electing him. It is one of the chief provision regarding the election of president. There is no ground which says that election can be postponed on the ground that the members are vacant. Okay, so election of the post of the President of India cannot be postponed on the ground that some legislative assembly have been dissolved. So both the statements are wrong. And then statement 3 is assent to bill. Okay, when the bill is passed by Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha is sent to the assent of president, there is no time limit. Okay, it is one of the drawbacks, meaning the laws which the government want to take, some of the times the president delays it so long that it becomes it kind of overrules the will of the people in the government. Okay, so that is what, when the bill is passed by both houses of parliament, it shall be presented to the president, and the president shall declare either that he assents or withholds the bill, provided that the president may, as soon as the possible of the presentation of the bill for assent, written the bill if it is not a money bill, etc., etc. Therefore, the president shall not withhold the assent. Therefore, no time limit has been mentioned in the constitution to give the assent to bill of the president. Okay, so there is no time limit within which the president has to give assent. Okay, and then question number 7, with reference to finance bill and money bill. These questions, finance bill and money bill, every year there will be a question on money bill. Okay, so be thorough with the money bill questions. With reference to finance bill and money bills in the Indian Parliament, consider the following statement. When the Lok Sabha transmits finance bill to the Rajya Sabha, it can amend, reject the bill or reject the bill. When Lok Sabha transmits money bill to the Rajya Sabha, it cannot amend or reject the bill. It can only make recommendations. In case of disagreement between the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, there is no joint sitting for the money bill if the sitting becomes necessary for finance bill. Okay, so the correct answer is B, only 2, meaning statement 1 is correct, 2 is correct, and 3 is okay. Sorry, statement 1 is incorrect. Statement 1 is when the Lok Sabha transmits finance bill, Rajya Sabha, it cannot amend, it can only accept or reject the bill. It can only accept the bill. So the finance bill, which is introduced in the Lok Sabha immediately after the presentation of the budget by the Ministry of Finance, is passed by Lok Sabha and transmitted to the Rajya Sabha after passing of the appropriation bill. It is also certified as money bill. Since the finance bill has been certified as a money bill, Rajya Sabha has the power to recommend amendments in the finance bill but cannot reject it. Only recommend the amendment but cannot reject it. However, Lok Sabha must accept or reject the recommendations. More than one finance bill may, however, be introduced during the financial year. Okay, so finance bill is nothing but a part of money bill. Okay, so this money bill, Rajya Sabha has a lower power compared to Lok Sabha, meaning it can only accept or amend, but it cannot reject the bill. If it provides certain amendments or recommendations, it should send back to the Lok Sabha. Lok Sabha should consider it, compulsorily consider it, but it is not necessary for Lok Sabha to accept all those recommendations. It can either accept the recommendations or it can completely reject this one. When it is sent back the second time to the Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, then Rajya Sabha has to give accept without any delay. Okay, so a money bill cannot be introduced in Rajya Sabha. It can be introduced in the Lok Sabha only on the recommendation of President. After money bill has been passed by the Lok Sabha, it is passed on the Rajya Sabha for its recommendations with a certificate by the Speaker that it is a money bill. The Rajya Sabha cannot reject a money bill, nor it can recommend it by virtue of its own powers. So there is no provision for joint sitting in the case of money bill. Since the finance bill is a money bill, there is no joint sitting for a finance bill also. So the statement 2 is correct. Okay. And the third statement is, in case of disagreement between Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, there is no joint sitting for money bill, but a joint sitting becomes necessary for finance bill. This statement can be interpreted in many ways, because in finance bills there are 3 types of finance bill. One, category A finance bill under Article 10A, and there is category B, a finance bill, a bill that would involve expenditure from considered fund, also include not only any matter specified in Article 10 but is treated as an ordinary bill. Okay, this financial bill, okay, this can be treated as an ordinary bill, and hence can be introduced in either house, and Rajya Sabha has power to either reject or amend it. It does not require the recommendations of the president for its introduction. Such a bill is governed by the same procedure as an ordinary bill, including the provisions of joint sitting in case of disagreement between 2 houses. So here, if you consider financial bill 2, then the statement becomes right. If you consider it as financial bill A, that statement becomes wrong. So UPSC, according to UPSC, the correct answer was statement 2 and 3 are correct, hence the option is correct. But if you consider it as financial bill A, if you consider it generally, then the correct answer here is only one. Only one statement is correct, that is 2. But according to UPSC key answers, the statement 2 and 3 are also correct, hence option B is correct. And then, with reference to scheduled areas in India, consider the following statements. Within a state, the notification of an area as a scheduled area takes place through an order of the president. Okay. So the largest administrative unit forming a scheduled area is the district, and lowest is the clusters of villages in block. The chief minister is concerned. Chief minister of the concerned states are required to submit annual reports to the Home Ministry on the administration of scheduled areas. Okay, so the correct answer is B. Only 2 statements. We'll see what the statements are correct. So statement 1, there is, okay, first you should understand that there is 5th schedule which deals with scheduled tribes, okay, or scheduled areas, and there is 6th schedule which deals with other tribal areas. It deals with 4 states, that is Assam, Mizoram, Tripura, Meghalaya. 6th schedule deals with these tribals in these areas. 5th schedule deals with tribals in the rest of the country. Okay. So under Article 13 and 2, under the control of Union over the administration of scheduled areas and the welfare of the tribes, the executive power of the Union shall extend to giving the directions of the state to the specified in the direction to be essential for the welfare of the scheduled tribes in the state. Okay, scheduled areas are the fifth schedule. The term scheduled areas are those that are scheduled by presidential order under paragraph 6 of the fifth schedule. So, who declares scheduled areas? President. In case of sixth schedule, it is done by governor. Okay, and the specification of scheduled areas in a state is notified by order of president after the consultation with the governor of the particular state. With regard to scheduled areas, however, it is only the president of India by way of presidential order duly notified who can only make an alteration which will include or exclude any part of the territory of India from the fifth schedule. Okay, so statement 1 is correct. Second is the criteria for declaring a scheduled areas. Fifth scheduled areas and scheduled area commission known as Debar Commission laid down the following criteria for declaring any area as scheduled areas. That is preponderance of tribal population, which should not be less than 50%. Compactness and reasonable size of the area. It should be underdeveloped nature of the area, marked disparity in the economic standard of the people compared to the neighboring areas. So, the more recently, a viable administrative entity such as district, block, or taluk cluster of villages has been also notified as an important additional criteria. This was added under annual report of 2023 Ministry of Tribal Affairs, Government of India. Initially, this provision was not there. Now it has been added. So many of the students confused this statement and made it to be wrong, but it is a in fact correct statement. And the statement number 3 is wrong because fifth scheduled area of the constitution lays down that the governor of each state having a scheduled area shall annually or wherever so required by the president make a report to the president regarding the admission of scheduled area. He should make a report to the president and not the Ministry of Home Affairs. Okay, so the statement is wrong. Okay, so the discussion for today will limit it to 8 questions only because polity you need more time for explanation. If you have any doubts, do write in the comment box. If you have any suggestions for me, do write in the comment box also. If you find any mistakes in my video, do correct me. Okay, if you want any other videos to be made, then write in the comment box also. In the coming classes we'll try to make videos on those also. With this I will end the video. Jai Hind.